The Gordon Institute of Business Science, otherwise known as GIBS, is a business school in South Africa. Our first show focuses on innovation and development in Africa. We start by interviewing the Dean of GIBS, visit a technology hub, and also hear why Africa's youngest billionaire thinks the time for Africa is now. But first, earlier this week, I caught up with Professor Nick Binedell, the Dean and founder of GIBS, who told me more about the school, its role in Africa, and extension into TV. Tell us about your vision 14 years ago.
The primary impulse, the impetus of this, was the belief I've had for many, many years now, because I came out of business to academia, that countries like South Africa, and indeed countries in Africa, need great institutions. And we're very fortunate to have a fairly strong private sector here. And my idea was very simple, that having been a general manager myself and having been involved in running a business, the skills and challenges of doing that well has been the sort of bread and butter, the DNA, if you like, the lifeblood of what GIBS has been about. It's to help individuals and companies run their businesses competitively. That's the core idea that led to the start of GIBS.
And how different was GIBS' vision relative to the traditional university?
So we spent 3 weeks visiting top business schools, and when we came back we realized that much of what each of those schools do is very similar, but of course what's different is where we are. And the particular challenges of the South African economy are central. So you learn from everyone, but you copy no one. And we set out to be a general management school to help those kind of leaders make the transition into better and better performance. And that's where it came from.
How much of the work that you're doing at GIBS is focused just outside of South Africa?
More and more. I mean, it's very clear that South Africa is a key part of the African economy. It has certain advantages and certain challenges in playing its full potential role in the continent. But we want to send a message out there that we're open for business as a business school, but we're also open for business as an economy to make a difference in Africa where we can, having the humility to realize that every country is different, has different markets and different needs. And our philosophy is to spread the word of partnering in an open-minded way where we can both mutually benefit from the relationship. So we have a strong focus increasingly on the rest of the continent, both West, East and Central and Southern Africa.
And how receptive has the rest of the continent been to your work?
Well, I think it's a fascinating dynamic, of course, because it's really only the last 5 or 10 years that the world has woken up, and maybe even indeed Africa itself has woken up to its real economic potential. And so we are well received, but there are questions asked. You know, what role does South Africa really want to play? Are we coming with all the answers? Are there real relationships and real partnerships? And what difference can we make? And some of these economies are self-empowered and self-driven and will achieve things quite naturally on their own. Some of them will usefully benefit from the relationship. But what I see in the future is a generation of business leaders in this continent, not just business perhaps, but certainly business leaders who work together to build this continent and leverage the capacity we have for 1 billion people that's going to become 2 billion people in the next 30 years. What an exciting probability that is.
Someone asked me the other day, is GIBS a business school or is it a think tank?
Well, a good business school is a mix of both, of course. We want to design and deliver great programs that individuals and companies ask us to run. But we also want to be at the cutting edge of thought leadership, because South Africa and Africa face some particular challenges, and we want to contribute to the ideas about what that should be. So we do research, we write cases, we teach to enhance that curriculum. So we want to be at the cutting edge, but we are a provider of quality business education.
Nick, why are we going into television as GIBS?
Well, we want to broaden the reach of our message and what we can offer people. And of course, it's a great medium to stimulate people's interest in business knowledge and business education. So hopefully some of the content will empower them, and hopefully maybe they'll end up studying here. But this is a great medium to spread the message of what great business practice and management practice is.
It's certainly been exciting seeing GIBS evolve over the past 14 years, and we certainly look forward to another exciting 14 years in the future. Thank you, Nick. Technology is one of the fastest growing sectors in the world. In Africa, IT contributes 7% to GDP, which is far less than the global average. Incubation hubs are seeking to change that. In East and South Africa, iHubs are the places for entrepreneurs to meet, share ideas, and develop startups. One such incubator is Josie Hub.
IT hubs are springing up across Africa and act as meeting points for young entrepreneurs to share ideas and start up innovative businesses, based on the skills they acquire at the hub and their understanding of their environment. One such is Josie Hub. Founded last year with funding from the Media Network, Google and other technology giants, Josie Hub has seen a number of successes so far.
More than 50% of young people in South Africa don't have any jobs at the moment. And we're technologists, we're geeks, we love building software. I'm also an entrepreneur, and what we felt was that there wasn't really a space for young entrepreneurs, young technologists, young people that wanted to build solutions, local solutions, African solutions for the problems that we had in South Africa. And that's how Josie Hub was born, is really to build a place and find a place for young people to get together and build the solutions that we hope will solve the problems in South Africa.
We've been extremely well received by the community. We started at a zero base. The community is now almost 3,000 strong. So it shows you just, how relevant the space and the platform we provide actually is.
Particular emphasis is placed on the development of internet, social media and mobile technologies that address the continent's most pressing social challenges.
In Africa at the moment, we've got over 1 billion people. There are now 800 million phones for the 1 billion people in Africa. That's a huge market. There are many countries, but every single person in the next 5 years will have a mobile device through which they can transact, through which they can get information, and through which entrepreneurs can reach them to deliver life-saving information and also services that make money and that build great businesses.
Young Africa Live is one such project and grew from a need for mobile applications that were non-profit but were still fun, educational and could make a difference.
Now it's the largest private social network in Africa. We've got almost 2 million young people on the platform that connect with each other on a daily basis, and that chat not just about things like HIV/AIDS and their status, but around sexual health in general.
And that is the dream for all young entrepreneurs who spend their time in technology hubs across Africa and the world, to build the next killer app, which for the funders must also include significant social objectives as well.
How do we use technology for social impact? And a space like Josie Hub really allows all these different individuals, these different ecosystem players to come together in one space and to really think innovatively about the role of technology for social change.
Josie Hub is also encouraging women to get more involved in the technology space. It provides a stimulating working environment and access to a network of innovators and like-minded entrepreneurs.
I'm currently chairing the Josie Women in Tech, and the whole purpose around that stream is around driving female innovation and gender diversity. If you know anything about the tech industry, that women are the most underrepresented, and Josie Women in Tech is about changing that perception. I'm one person who can tell you that you don't have to study tech, so I don't have a technical background. I've got a BCom degree, but I've managed to be a tech entrepreneur because I've always had an interest and passion within the industry.
Actually, you don't need to be technical at all. I think a lot of people are already tech savvy because of the environment we live in. I mean, we have laptops, tablets, phones. So already, if you're part of those things, or which you carry in your pocket and you use at work, you're already part of the tech community already.
From Josie Hub to cyber success.
This is about Josie in its entirety. It doesn't exclude anybody. As long as tech is really the overarching theme, it doesn't matter what your background is.
Josie Hub is hoping to work closely with other hubs across Africa.
At GIBS, we're fortunate to have some of the finest speakers visit our campus. One of them is Asish Thakkar, the CEO and founder of the Mara Group. He's a serial entrepreneur who started his first business at the age of 15. The Mara Group now operates in 21 countries in a broad range of sectors. He's here to tell us why he thinks the time for Africa is now.
Our time as Africa is now. You know, we've got the most naturally rain-fed arable land in the world. I mean, 60% of the arable land in the world. People are talking about food shortages in the rest of the world. Here we are with so much fertile soil and all the necessary ingredients that we need to make that happen. We've truly been able to leapfrog in technology. Having a bank account on your mobile phone in Kenya is normal. The way we've been able to leapfrog is huge. We have these advantages because we don't have legacy systems. We've got 52 cities with over 1 million people in each of those cities. I mean, it's a massive opportunity. I was in China, and we were at a conference, and one of our heads of state from a Francophone country kind of started the thing and said, you know, I was talking to Chinese investors, and it was like, you know, we need help. And his thing was, we need help because, you know, we don't have power, we don't have infrastructure, we don't have this. So he finished his help spiel, right? And he finished, and I came up and I said, you know, with all due respect, Your Excellency, I'm going to give exactly the same message, but we don't need help. I mean, we have 75 terawatts of power as sub-Saharan Africa with almost 850 million people. Spain has 75 terawatts of power with 40 million people. That's not a problem. That's a massive opportunity, huge opportunity. We need 20 to 30 times more power than we have today. Come and invest. Come and make money. So I think it's a mindset shift that really, genuinely, I think we're very lucky that the time is now. And the continent's changing. We cannot forget, as sub-Saharan Africa, we are 46 different countries. And as I said earlier, 46 different cultures, mindsets, all of that. So we have to think practically. We can't just copy and paste. And you know, we kind of blame the external, meaning people outside of Africa, the foreigners who are coming into Africa, and say that they generalize this. But I think we do it sometimes ourselves. But I think one thing we do need to take advantage of is regional integration. There's a lot more regional integration taking place. And that's going to be a huge advantage. The East African community, in my opinion, is one of our best case studies because it's been the fastest in terms of execution. And maybe that's because of the number of countries involved. But it's been great. It's a collective market, $77 billion GDP. It's, you know, 120 to 140 million people, depending on whose stats you go on. And you know, it's a much bigger market, and it's opening up in terms of borders, etc. Francophone West African countries today, you don't have to set up a bank in all 8 countries to operate. They have one central bank, one single currency. So regional integration is a very important thing for us to take note of, but still remaining local in the true sense. 7, 8 years ago, when Mara was still growing, and it still is, but at that time, I saw that African governments always favored foreign investors to African investors, and that bugged the life out of me. Right? We're doing the same thing. We're willing to bring the same thing to the table. But they trusted foreign investors more. Why? Because they thought that foreign investors have the ability to execute, and they had the subject matter expertise. Post the downturn, I've seen a huge shift in that, a huge shift in mindset, that they saw foreign investors pull out and go, whereas African investors remained. We stood fast, and we actually delivered on the projects we committed to. So I've seen a huge mindset shift within our governments, especially in the rest of Africa. I'm not so experienced with South Africa, but that governments are really favoring African businesses over foreign businesses. And that's a huge edge for us. That's a huge edge for us to take advantage of. Bureaucracy exists, right? It does. I mean, you know, there's frustration in the system in a lot of places. However, we are transforming. We are going through a huge transformation right now. CNN asked me my favorite country in Africa out of the 19 countries, and I said Nigeria. And everybody gets really surprised when I say Nigeria. But I genuinely mean it. You know, our finance minister is ex-World Bank. Trade minister, ex-Goldman Sachs. ICT minister, ex-Accenture. Sovereign Wealth Fund manager, ex-Goldman Sachs. I mean, we have a fantastic cabinet in place. The president wants to leave, he has a positive legacy. So you see that now trickling down into the system. Yet the perception is very different from the reality. So I think, you know, but that bureaucracy, like I said, does exist. And how Mara tackles that is we name and shame. We scream and shout. We make sure things get done. And it's possible.
Thank you for joining us on our first show. We hope you enjoyed it. Until next week, goodbye.